Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course. Get ready to lighten up your emotions. We are here with a beautiful guide to help us master our emotions. This is a requirement for our new earth creations and our evolution of humanity. Let's welcome this beautiful master teacher, Sophie Bidard. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm really delighted to be with you and to take you on a deep dive into emotional waters. You know, water is the element of emotions, and it's really my element of predilection. So I have many unique perspectives to share with you today, and I'm so very grateful that you're welcoming me. Thank you.
And we are going to just dive right into this and let you begin this course. It is an introduction to a very significant series that you are offering for folks to really master the emotions. We've heard from spiritual teachers left and right, and even channeled messages that the mastery of emotions is the key. So why don't you start there as you start your mini course, your introduction course, and share with us why the mastery of emotions? Why is that so important?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So really, for the past 10 years, I've been an advocate for emotional mastery as well as a role model, having walked this path myself and as a guide and support into that. And the definition I would like to offer of emotional mastery is it's the ability to fully experience and embrace the emotions of the present moment, and to tap into the guidance that they offer in alignment with your highest good, your evolution, and the highest good of all. So that's our destination, right? Emotional mastery. And as we just had a little chat, Lauren, just a moment ago before we got live, this is the destination for all of us. This is where we want all to be. What a different world it will be when we all are living emotional mastery and interacting with one another on that new ground, right? So for that, there are requirements. And the requirements are, well, the first one is really to be free from the interferences of the past emotions. As I said, it's about experiencing and embracing the emotions of the moment. So emotions of the past, they bring distortion, they bring misinterpretation, they bring amplification, they bring system overload, and all sorts of consequences in terms of drama, confusion, chaos, also physical and mental symptoms and disease, conflicts in interactions and relationships, and also coping mechanisms such as addictions, right? So one of the requirements is emotional clarity, this freedom from the past emotions. Now, emotions that we may have built up and that we may have accumulated not only through this lifetime, since our birth, even before our birth, right? Or during birth, but also from our past lives and inherited from our maternal and paternal lineages. So until we have done significant and systematic clearing of these emotions of the past, we are still under the influence of these past emotions that have nothing to do with the present, but that totally disrupt the guidance system that present emotions are supposed to offer. Now, if I experience a fear right now that is a relevant fear, for example, let me give an example. I'm about to cross the street and here comes a truck at full speed. And the fear gives me the signal to either step back or run away, well, to protect myself, right? And thanks to this fear, I'm still alive, the truck has passed, and everything is good. Now, two things I want to comment about this. First, well, once this truck has gone, and thanks to my fear, I survived, this fear is no longer relevant. And it is important, actually, it's so essential. As soon as the peak and the relevance of the fear is past, I need to let go of it. Now, what happens very often, and what we have been all doing for so many years until we train ourselves to a new way, right, is holding on to this emotion. So let's say, for example, I meet you a couple hours later, Laura, and I tell you about how I almost died today. This truck came. And how about if I share this episode, bringing back the same intensity of fear, right? So I keep running the fear. Plus, by the way, I may trigger fear within you. So I start spreading fear. Right? And maybe even weeks later or months later, I keep talking about, the day I almost died with this truck, and I keep firing up this fear. What happens is it installs within me, and it has nothing anymore to do with the present moment, but now I carry fear from the past within me. Okay? And what this does, well, many things that are very undesirable. One, as it settles within, not only it's sitting there and I have to carry it with me like a heavy burden and baggage, but it's not only there like sleeping, it has an energy that is magnetic by nature. And so this vibration of fear is going to magnetize and attract to me people and situations that provoke more fear. So it's going to magnetize more fear. Okay, so that's bad news. But also, as it builds up in my emotional body and it settles in my body, it's going to create symptoms. It's going to disrupt the whole physical body. It's going to create chaos in relationships, interactions. So that's one issue, main issue, core issue with allowing an emotion, once it's passed in the moment, holding on to it and installing it as a past emotion. Okay. The other thing is, yes, we have been doing this in our childhood and during a significant part of our life until we started maybe training differently. But we've also come with baggage of traumatic emotions inherited from our past lives and genealogical maternal and paternal lines. So we carry all these burdens of emotions that have nothing to do with the present. Now, the other issue with this is that now, once a new emotion of fear comes up that is relevant in the moment, it's going to not only give me a signal, but it's going to trigger this baggage that I carry. Okay, so maybe it's not a truck that's coming, it's, I don't know, a bicycle or something, or just there's a noise, right? It's not even something is coming. It's just I hear the sound of a truck further away. And it triggers my fear in the present moment. It triggers my fear from the past, and it totally disrupts the guidance system. Now I have this huge overreaction of fear. Maybe I'm paralyzed, maybe I'm screaming, and yet there's actually nothing going on. It's just that this buildup of past fear is being triggered in the present, and now my guidance system is totally disrupted. And this guidance system, it's really, and that's what emotions are meant to be. They are meant, emotions of the moment, of the present moment, they are meant to be a guidance system, just like signalization on the road. Right? You have green light, you go. You have orange light, you slow down, you look around. You have red light, you stop, right? Now, emotions, they have the same purpose. A screaming fear tells me to stop or to back off or to protect myself, right? Now, to be efficient and relevant, to be operational, this guidance system, this signalization, it has to be very purely in the present moment. When you are driving, you slow down to the red light and you stop to the red light that's in front of you, not the one that was 5 kilometers ago or the one you saw yesterday. It would be totally crazy, right? So you are very much responding and navigating based on the signalization that is present right now. Okay. And with emotions, it's the same thing. The way they are meant to operate is that when an emotion fires up or flares up, it gives us a signal in the moment right now, considering what is going on right now and what response is demanded from us at this moment, not in the past, and not with the distortions, the amplifications, the confusion from this baggage of emotions from the past. Okay? So back to the emotional mastery. As emotional masters, just like as master drivers, we pay attention to the signals. We are present, we are attentive, we see the signals, we recognize them, and we respond accordingly. As emotional masters, we do the same. We pick up the signals of the present moment emotions and we respond to them appropriately. Okay, so again, what a wonderful world it will be when we all operate on that basis, right?
Yeah. In fact, we can see the world, the state of our world right now, where we can see the baggage that is being triggered. Yes.
Absolutely. And, actually, one thought that I've had is that, well, is it intentional or not? Or at least the effect is that, yes, with this intensity that has been growing up, it is cornering us. It has been cornering us, and it is cornering us to upgrade our emotional mode of operation. We can no longer function as non-masters. We can no longer let the emotions of the past drive us crazy and let us be crazy drivers. And this is very much what has been happening to some degree. one thing I've observed is that in the ascension process and in the ascension journey and in our efforts and intentions and all that we do to build our light body, we have done a lot of work on our physical body, upgrading our physical body. We have done a lot of work on our mental body, right? Our beliefs, our ways of thinking, our mental patterns. So we've upgraded these two, but the emotional body, it has been kind of the one at the back of the classroom. And I feel it's very much the elephant in the room. It's like, oh, let the emotions, let's not go there. Let's avoid, unless we are really pressured to take care of them. There is such a reluctance to really do the work of there has been such a reluctance to do the same effort of upgrading our emotional body in the same way or in the same degree, to the same degree and extent as we have done so much work and effort to our physical body and mental body, right? So the result is that the music has changed and it keeps changing, right? There's so much light coming, the cosmos, the planets, the stars, so much light is being offered, is being poured into the earth experience. So the music has changed, but the emotional body, it keeps dancing the old dance to the old music. So there is such a discrepancy. And again, has it been an intentional setup or is it just the result of that? The last couple years have shown this discrepancy and kind of put it in our face like that. We are not up to date with our emotional body to the same degree as we are up to date with our mental and physical body. And it is a priority. It is a high priority. It is a demand, a requirement, right? To upgrade the emotional body and have it dance the dance of the moment and have it keep evolving its dance, because we're not on a plateau and now this is where we are. No, it keeps growing, evolving, and it will keep growing and evolving every moment. And for how long? Forever, right? So we need our emotional body to be up to date and to have this ability to organically keep growing, keep evolving, keep upgrading, just like the mental body, and along, like hand in hand, mental body, physical body, emotional body, spiritual body, all of this, which is all the layers of ourselves. We cannot have one layer that is staying behind. And that's where we have been. And that's what has been shown to us these last couple of years, right? So at the same time, it gives us the chance to realize, okay, well, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to take care of.
It's very interesting because hearing you speak, it makes so much sense that we can focus on the mental and focus on the physical, the light body, and the spiritual. We've all done that. But when it comes to the emotions, we tend to ignore it. And it's mostly the dense emotions. We could call them negative emotions.
Yep.
Like if we're working on our spiritual path, when we feel an emotion of anger, then that's where we start to shut that down, right? We start to say, no, I don't. So we're doing a bypass on the emotional paradigm.
Yep.
And you're talking about upgrading the emotional paradigm. And again, we did mention in the beginning that this is a requirement.
Yeah.
So tell us more about how we go about that upgrade.
Yes, thank you. Yes. It's actually very simple once we understand what's going on there. And what I've realized is, I've been for the last 10 years, I've been guiding so many people in their clearing their emotions, right? Deep emotional clearing of the past, and clearing. And at some point I realized, well, yes, we need to do the clearing, but if we don't change the way we operate with emotions, then it's like, it was shown to me this metaphor that it's like if you have a bathtub and you're going to take a bath, well, you want your water to be clean. And once you're done with your bath, you let the dirty water or the used water, you let it down the drain and you clear the bathtub, right? Now, if we clear the water, but the bathtub is dirty, or even worse, if the bathtub is made of, let's say it's made of a material that keeps generating toxicity, maybe it's made of some metal that is rusty or rusting, and it brings toxicity into the water. Then you pour clean water and it becomes toxic before you even started bathing. Now, this is not going to work, right? And you're going to say, okay, I need a new bathtub. So now what I've realized also is that the way we've been offered to operate with our emotions are 4 different ways. Like we've offered 4 different options: denying them, suppressing them. So you mentioned, Lauren, the anger. That would be, no, I'm not angry, right? Putting it inside, burying it inside. Okay, I'm not angry. I'm not scared. Now, usually there's a conflict between our physical body and the way we act, but we have become, because this is not just in this lifetime, it's been many lifetimes and many generations. It's like humanity has been operating in that way for such a long time. We've become masters at denying and suppressing our emotions, right? So we can do it just like this. We can make it disappear. But it doesn't just disappear. It becomes suppressed. It installs itself in our physical body. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not just sitting there. It emanates this magnetic vibration that's going to attract more of the anger, for example. Okay, so we've have this option to suppress or deny it. We have the option to control it. So maybe if we keep going with the anger, maybe we're going to allow a little bit of the anger, but we're going to control the intensity, the magnitude of it. And now, in a way, it's kind of, we're going to suppress some of it. So back to the first point, but also control, as we know, control can only last as long as it lasts. And someone who controls their emotions, they control them until comes the point that they can no longer control them. And here comes the moment where there's one drop too many and somebody just blows out of proportion. Right? There are many movies where this happens, and we may all have had this experience to some extent or have witnessed it, overreaction or totally inappropriate reaction, right? Because control takes so much energy. Control is such an unnatural mode of operation, but that's one we have learned as well. Like, don't be angry. Don't be sad. Don't be so sad. Don't be scared, right? We've trained ourselves to control the magnitude and to just stay on the surface and to just allow, if we do at all, to just allow some acceptable degree of emotionality. Okay? So that's the second. element. Third one, that's been a tricky one because it's been proposed as something great to do, but I'm gonna hopefully convey really well how it is not such a great thing to do. Express your emotions. Now, express your emotions is actually, express your anger would be expressing the emotion of anger. So it may end up like I could be kind of barking, I could be swearing, insulting, just throwing anger out. I even call it throwing up emotions, right? We are pouring our emotions out on other people, on the collective. So first, it's pretty, it generates pollution, right? It generates emotional and energetic pollution. I was angry. Now I express my anger. And as a result, I'm going to spread anger. And I'm going to trigger other people's anger. And for some, I'm going to trigger their fear. Okay? So that's very toxic. But also, once I've expressed this emotion of anger, for example, it's still there. Maybe for a moment I feel better after I've been swearing or insulting half the room. Maybe I feel better for a moment, but in truth, my anger is still there. So expressing your emotion doesn't work, and it's actually very toxic. There's a slightly better degree of expression, which would be expressing our emotional state. So I could say, I'm angry right now. I'm very angry. I feel upset. Now I can say it loud. That's less toxic, but it's less toxic to my environment. But as I say, I'm angry right now, it actually doesn't help me. My anger is still there, right? What would be really useful is that I express the reason why I'm angry. If it needs to be expressed, actually, I need to express it to myself. What is it that makes me angry? Now, anger, for example, is a matter of boundaries, right? Boundaries, breach of boundary or non-respect of boundaries or not having boundaries, right? That's what triggers anger. So when I get the signal of anger, I feel angry. What it needs to prompt me is to find in myself what is my boundary issue and how do I need to respond to this. And maybe I'm going to say, it's not okay that you talk to me like that. Maybe I'm simply going to leave the room. Right? Now, that's an appropriate response. It's an appropriate response because I'm taking care of the reason of the anger and I'm responding to the reason of the anger. I'm giving it an appropriate response. Okay? So the number 3 that was expressing your emotions, that's not a good one, right? And it's been in so many magazines, so many websites, self-help, express your emotions. I'm sorry. I say no, there is a much better way. Okay. And I'm going to talk about this in more details when I present the new paradigm, the new mode of operation that we need to bring in replacement of this old one. The 4th mode of operation that we've had as an option is pretty much laissez-faire. Just letting emotions take us over, actually being at the mercy of our emotions, being taken over by emotions. And you know what? Yes, I'm emotional and that's just the way it is. And just being if you imagine a sponge, because emotions are watery by nature, so it's a good metaphor. Being a sponge, imagine I'm a sponge and I'm so full of water or whatever substance, and that's how I go through life. So every interaction, if I bump into something, bump into someone, or just brush, right, I leak my emotions all over the place, and I can't hold myself together, right? That's what I call laissez-faire, or it's some kind of emotional anarchy, right? Emotions rule you instead of you being master of your emotions. Okay, so far we have had these 4 options. And humanity has been operating for centuries and centuries, and who knows how much longer, on the basis of these 4 options, of which none of which is a good one, none of which is a healthy one, right? But that's all we've had. And we've just been left to our own devices with emotions, right? Nowhere, at least until now, nowhere do we learn how to handle ourselves emotionally. What's a healthy way of being emotional, be an emotional mode of operation. So we've just, been left to our own devices, and the result is these 4 main modes of operation, which are 4 toxic for ourselves, toxic for our environment, toxic for even humanity. Because what I've realized, once I've put all of this on paper and realized what it looks like, how it appeared to me is that each of these 4, they reveal themselves to me like each of them is like a dungeon, like a tower, a dungeon. And you have these 4 dungeons that hold together a fortress. And this fortress is the old emotional paradigm of control, suppression, denial, expression that is toxic expression, or laissez-faire. Now, when we think about this, actually, this fortress and these 4 dungeons, they are very much what Ascension is about, moving society, moving humanity out of these paradigms of control and suppression and denial, right? So what I've realized is that as long as we operate emotionally with these 4 modes of operation, humanity is held in a lower level of, it's like we are making so much effort to evolve and to ascend, but our emotions are bringing us down. There's this fortress that's, we rise and then we crash down. Example, the last couple years, right? We enter a phase of humanity's journey that gets very intense. Do we fly through it? Do we evolve through it? No, we pretty much crash through it, right? And what this means to me, this has revealed to me is that, is it intentional or not? It's not mine to say, but this emotional paradigm is actually self-preserving and is preserving humanity in a low level of operation and is preventing the ascension, right? It's preventing it, if only to some degree. It's slowing it down. It's making it so difficult, so hard, because we're carrying these burdens and we're struggling with this fortress that's bringing us down, right? So we need to dismantle this fortress. Now that we have clarity on what is it, we have these 4 dungeons And what we're going to do together in our webinar series, in our workshop series, it's actually deep healing and transformation and liberation series of workshop of deep healing and liberation from this paradigm, liberation from these 4 modes of operation, right? And what we're going to do is each workshop, we're going to tackle one mode of operation. We're going to dismantle it. We're going to put it down. And we're actually going to rewire the neurological pathways. So we're going to unwire ourselves the way we've been suppressing and denying our emotions. We're going to bring this down, remove the wiring, and instead of the suppressing, we're going to bring awareness of emotions. Okay? Instead of suppression and denial, we're going to bring awareness of emotions. So we replace one dungeon of the fortress with a pillar that is very much pillar of light, a pillar that allows us to elevate ourselves. Okay, so first, let me check what's our sequence there exactly. First, we take down the denial and suppression, and we bring awareness. So that's our first healing workshop, liberation workshop. Second, we take down resistance and control. So these ways of resisting emotions, not going there or going there a little bit, controlling. Yes, I'm a little bit angry, or I'm a little bit sad. We're going to bring this down, and we're going to bring acceptance of our emotions to the magnitude and the depth in which they are arising, in which they are present. Okay? Third, we're going to bring down what I call dramatic expression, right? What I talked about earlier, this express your anger, this way of throwing up our emotions that does nothing good for our environment, nothing good for ourselves. That's why it's dramatic expression. All it does is create drama, right? We're going to bring this down. Instead, we're going to bring fruitful interaction with emotions. Now, this is, to me, this is so key. This is so key because, as I described earlier, emotions, they are a signalization system, right? And so when an emotion arises in the present moment, the emotion itself is a signal that calls for my attention. And this signal holds insights, guidance, wisdom. Okay? So what I need to do is to recognize the signal, detect it, and then, I'm angry, I'm scared, I feel sad. Okay, so with awareness and acceptance of it. And then going into fruitful interaction, it's dialogue with the emotion. So I detect fear within me. I ask this fear, what does this fear want to signal to me? What does this fear want me to do? What is the purpose of this fear? Okay? And when I work with clients, individual clients, and when I guide groups as well, that's how I guide the release of emotions. Emotions, when we want to release an emotion, we can only release it totally and completely once it has delivered its guidance. And an emotion that resists, that doesn't really go away completely, it's because it hasn't delivered all its wisdom, all its guidance. And so it's a gift to us. And actually, our higher self wouldn't want that we throw away this water if there are pearls of wisdom in the water, right? Like you say, you don't throw the baby with the bathwater, right? You keep the baby, you keep the pearls of wisdom. So we train ourselves, and it becomes very, very quickly once we adopt this as a way of operating. Oh, signal of fear. What does the fear want me to do? What does the fear want me to say? What does the fear want me to know? Do this, do that. Okay, great. Then the residue, either it washes away by itself, or I just need to brush it away. Like, okay, let go of it. That's it, done. Okay? So fruitful interaction with our emotions. It's amazing, the treasures of wisdom. Once we start having these fruitful interactions with our emotions, it's amazing the wisdom that they hold. And once we discover this, we certainly realize that they are so precious. So we've been so reluctant to experience our emotions, to accept them. Once we realize they have so much wisdom to share with us, now we start to be ready to even befriend our emotions. Now, they may be a bit weird friend. This anger of mine is a kind of a weird friend, but we all have some weird friends, right? That have some kind of weird behavior, but are so precious because they hold so much wisdom, and wisdom that is such a, precious guidance on our path. Okay? So that's the third workshop, from dramatic expression into fruitful interaction. And in the fourth workshop, we take down the laissez-faire, this, just being taken over, being at the mercy of our emotions. We take this down, and we bring self-regulation and purification of our emotions, which kind of wraps up once we have the awareness, the acceptance, the ability to have this fruitful interaction with our emotions. Now we are ready, we are even wired to have this organic, natural regulation of emotions, in which the emotion arises, I notice it, I gather its wisdom, and then I wash it away. And it becomes such a natural thing to do. And it becomes such a natural thing that happens naturally. Okay? So, in our workshop series, first we have one intention call, in which we create our safe, sacred space for our journey together, because it's going to be quite a journey, right? And also I give you all the instructions to prepare. So you're going to get homework to prepare for each of these workshops. And then every week we have one workshop. We take down one of the dungeons of the old paradigm, and instead we bring one of our pillars of light. Okay? So that's going to be our journey of upgrading our emotional paradigm from the old toxic emotional paradigm into this new organic, evolving emotional paradigm, healthy for ourselves, healthy for others, full of wisdom. This is where we gather the wisdom. This is where the emotional body comes alive, regains, we gift it back its true purpose, which is to be this guidance system on the moment, every moment. Okay, so we're going to have this journey. And if I take my metaphor of the bathtub, so this is the bathtub, right? That's how we upgrade our bathtub. But I'm not going to let you with the old water from the past. So I've included in this program, I've included as a bonus an offer that a program that I offer every month, that is the Emotion Club. So every month I offer a deep release of emotion collective. It's really emotional detox, right? And I've included in this program to allow you to clear your emotional waters, so that with your brand new bathtub, upgraded bathtub, you're going to pour clear water, pure water. So I've included 2 months of the Emotion Club, in which we are going to do together the deep clearing of emotions, the emotional detox. So in this Emotion Club, what we do every month, on the 15th, we have a gathering in which, again, intention call, we create our sacred space. I give you instructions to prepare for the release of emotions. So gaining awareness of your emotions, that's on the 15th of every month. And on the 22nd of every month, we have this emotional detox workshop in which we do very deep clearing of emotions. We go into so many iterations. It's like we take this sponge and we press it in this way, we press it in that way, we press it like this, like that, and then we fill it with light and we fill it with grace. So with the program, with the Lighten Up Your Emotions, you have these 2 avenues that we're going to walk, we're going to run, we're going to journey together on these 2 avenues. The one in which we upgrade the emotional paradigm, and the one in which we clear our emotional waters. And very soon, you're going to be ready to operate as an emotional master, and then it's going to be yours to keep. You're going to be equipped to keep it growing. Now, when we were talking, Lauren, and we talked about the journey into emotional mastery, and I said, and beyond. So here is my thing about that. One day I asked, what is beyond mastery in general, right? Not specifically to emotions, but it does apply to emotions. What is beyond mastery? Like, is it possible that mastery is like the end of the journey? And as I asked this, I got mystery. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I was shown a visual in which mastery is like a space holder, like a container, right? And once we have a masterful container in whatever context it is, but it's going to apply to emotions. Once we have a masterful container, the mystery arises in this container. And the mystery kind of fills the cup, right? So maybe the mastery is kind of a holy grail kind of container, and the mystery arises there. And then in this visual, it's really a vision that I've been offered, that I've received, is once the mystery has filled up the masterful container, then the mastery upgrades itself to a higher degree of mastery that's going to be able to embrace, to receive a higher degree of mystery. And it becomes kind of an ongoing upgrade of mastery to receive more mystery, to allow even more mastery or higher mastery. And this applies to our emotional mastery, right? So we're going to build our masterful container. Now, with the emotions being the element of water, we can very much relate to the cup, right? So we build this cup like a golden cup. And the mystery of our emotions, or the subtlety, the wisdom of our emotions is going to reveal itself in this cup. And as we operate this mastery and mystery, we're going to upgrade even more. And that's where, once we bring our emotional body to the dance, to the music, to the up-to-date music with our mental body and our physical body and our light body, it's going to just keep growing and evolving and ascending, right? And it's going to be organic in this way. So that's our destination. It's into emotional mastery and beyond, because it's not going to be a plateau. Okay, we're there, now we're good. Once we're there, it's just going to be the beginning of a whole new journey, and it's going to be a magnificent new journey.
We are excited for that. I think we can each feel the liberation that you spoke about, and we can see now why this is a requirement towards our level of mastery and towards our ascension. You brought up some really good points, and it's, again, I'll say it, we can see it in the outside world. So this is really being responsible for ourselves.
Yes.
Uncovering the treasures of the emotions. And you mentioned that, these are the negative emotions, or the dense emotions. Yet I'm hearing some people with a question of other emotions, like blissful emotion or joy and happiness. What is on that? How does that fit here? Are we already mastering those because we're letting them flow, or what? How does that come into play?
Well, the thing is, and yes, that's a great question. Thank you for picking this up in the audience, right? Let's say the heavy duty work has to be done on these negative emotions because they are so disruptive, right? And especially those we carry from the past. Now, if we carry joy from the past, it's not such a big deal, right? Even though we do want to be in the present. But the priority is to take care of these disruptive baggage of emotions from the past. Now, once we have built and installed our new emotional paradigm of awareness and acceptance and fruitful interaction, it's not going to be only that that this applies to the negative emotions. It's going to be greater awareness of the joy, the bliss, the happiness. It's going to be a greater acceptance of those emotions. It's going to be a greater experience of them, right? It's going to be also tapping into the wisdom of joy. Not only it's wonderful it's such a delight to experience joy, but what if joy had wisdom to share? In addition to giving us such a treat, what if it had wisdom to share? And what if we tapped into this wisdom? So yes, the priority in terms of clearing, right? In terms of clearing the emotions of the detox, we need to detox the burdens of negative emotions from the past. And we need to bring our new emotional paradigm that is going to support not only operating masterfully with those negative emotions they are going to become these weird friends, right? They're not going to be so negative anymore. They're just going to be some of the spectrum, right? But it's also going to offer such a new dimension of the experience of the positive, the pleasant emotions, right? Also, one effect is that as long as we control some emotions, so we have this control mechanism in place, to some degree, to some extent, it also applies to controlling the joy. So we can ask ourselves and kind of scan for ourselves, to what extent do we allow the full magnitude of our joy? And to just wash through us at the moment, in the moment, with the intensity that it really holds, and in the magnitude that it, don't we all kind of control, turn it down? Okay, don't show off too much, don't be too right. So this control, it hasn't been only controlling the negative emotion, it's also been controlling the positive, and the maybe lack of awareness. Sometimes we've been so drowning in the negative ones that we lost the awareness of the positive ones. Now, once we rise to this new, upgraded, masterful mode of operation, we won't have this duality anymore, this polarity of negative and positive. We'll have a whole spectrum, just like there are colors. Right now, there are colors that you like better than others. There are colors that maybe, I really don't like this color. Okay, but still, it's just a color, right? No big deal. I wouldn't wear it if I could choose, but it's just a color, right? And it has its own. And for example, I don't like brown. I don't dress in brown. I don't like brown as a color, but when I see brown, I'm looking outside in the garden. When I see the brown of the earth, this organic brown, I love it. It's just I wouldn't dress in brown, right? And when we become masterful with our emotions are going to be like colors. Some of them we're going to like better than others. Actually, I've become I kind of have an adoration for sadness, because I've decoded so much. It brings such deep experiences of love and gratitude, that sadness, to me, when we handle it masterfully, it is so precious. It is so precious. And each of them is actually so precious. So that's how it's going to be. There's no longer going to be positive, negative emotions. There's going to be a whole range, whole variety. And yeah, it's probable that we're going to prefer the joy to the anger, but yet when the anger offers tremendous wisdom, well, it might be a great, great friend. And when it allows us to be masterful with our boundaries, I love this anger of mine that keeps me in my boundaries. So it is a whole new world, right?
A whole new masterful paradigm of our emotions.
That's right.
You have really presented this really clearly. And I know that I'm feeling really aware of this, and so are others. And it's interesting, I've heard this frequently on our podcast, that some are reluctant to share their joy or be blissful when they see others are not there. And yet it all comes down to the emotions, the emotional body.
Yeah.
So this is a missing element of focus. So I'm so glad that you're bringing great attention to this. Yeah. And a great workshop to bring down what you call the 4 dungeons of that old emotional paradigm. So I know there's many who are ready to totally dismantle that and bring it into balance, into a mastery level, into an embrace of our emotions. It is us. We can't deny it or ignore it or try to control it or stuff it or push it away or bring it in from the past and spew it on others. And so I see when we do this for ourselves that it does make the world a better place in our own homes and our own families. And even when we come up against another person who is boiling over, I like to use that term, boiling over, like one last drop of a trigger of the control, someone trying to control or suppress it, and then something happens in the external and they blow up or they boil over. So if we come up against a situation like that, someone is boiling over and we are seemingly the trigger of that or whatever, that we will not react in the same way. We'll use that even in that sense.
Yeah.
There's where we are dissolving a situation, even for that other person. Can you speak to that a little?
Yes, absolutely. That's so important. Thank you for bringing that up because it has come actually in quite a few sessions, individual sessions I've had with clients, in which what is being shown is how when we become masterful with our emotions, and we are in a situation that is intense. So, for example, we are triggering someone else who has a huge overreaction, right? Now, in our masterfulness, we are present to the experience of the moment. We are not being triggered by all the past emotions, right? So what's happening at the moment, we can handle this, we can stay present, and we can attend to what's going on with a responsible, we are responsible. I like responsible as response-able, right? We are able to respond. And what I've been shown in many client sessions is, for example, when we are confronted to tremendous pain of another, and it may be that their pain is showing through their anger, burst of anger, or however, tremendous suffering of another. When we are triggered to some degree, like it affects us, right? It touches us in our compassion, but we are free from, we are not triggered by our past, then we are able to stand, and instead of running away or turning, looking away because we can't stand what we are facing, or responding with even more anger and getting into a crazy, right, a crazy situation, we are able to stand and to respond, for example, placing the situation in the hands of the divine, placing the other person in the hands of the divine, placing their pain, placing their suffering, placing their anger in the hands of the divine. And we can obviously do this silently. So we may just stand there and seemingly do nothing, but actually what we are doing is we are the instrument of the divine. We are present. We are acknowledging what's going on there. We are accepting that it's going on there. We're giving it compassion. We are witnessing it. And we are blessing it. We are placing it in the hands of the divine. And we may be guided to speak up. We may be guided to help them in a way. We may be guided to do something. We may be guided to do nothing. And yet we are doing a lot. We are doing the work of the divine. We are the channel of the divine. We are blessing. Now, many of us are called to this nature of service, to be able to walk the world in the state of suffering that it is currently, to be able to confront this suffering, to be able to look at it in the eyes and not run away, not turn away, not shy away from it, not bring our own suffering, to be able to witness it and to bless it. And we are blessed by this ability. So many of us are being called to be of service in this way. And I hope many will answer the call. And yes, it is a major requirement to be able to show up as emotional masters and to be emotionally responsible, able to respond. Right? So ultimately, it turns us into these brilliant, divine, sacred agents of service through our presence, through our masterful presence. So the call is out there, and the call is sent to everyone, right? And some will be called to other specific functions or other specific missions, and we each have our own assignment. But I do believe that we all have the assignment to rise to the occasion of offering compassion to the world and offering healing and blessing to the world and being those agents. I believe that everyone is called to this, that we have other specialties, but that everyone is called to this assignment, that it is an assignment to humanity.
And just feeling into that, it feels so wonderful. That's why you are a beautiful guide on this, because it makes so much sense. And I know that everyone watching and listening feels the responsibility and the call of their heart for that in service. Yeah, goosebumps.
Yeah, goosebumps. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
So incredibly beautiful. Just this introduction course right here has offered so much wisdom and guidance. Really beautiful. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you.
The options to join your course is here on this webpage, and we invite everyone to check it out. And we thank everyone for your light that you do and the work that you do for yourself. Again, this is a requirement, not only for New Earth, but a requirement for the evolution of humanity, for the hearts of humanity. And I actually see that world, Sophie. I see a world of balanced emotions. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're in a pressure cooker right now. You said we're being cornered into looking at this in a way that it must be dealt with. We need to take that masterful response to it. And you've shown us how. And I think we're all excited. The program that you have is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's highly supportive in so many ways. Folks that have done personal sessions with you adore you. I've had a session with you, and it was uncovering things in the subconscious that I didn't even know existed. And that's what this introduction course did a little bit for us. It made us look at things in a different way, from a higher perspective. And we just love that. So for those who are ready to dismantle the fortress of those dungeons of the emotional paradigm, this is a beautiful program. And I just wanted to recap one more time the support, the level of support that is included. It's 4 of those online webinars, plus it's 2 months of your emotional club, which that has 2 each month, 2 support meetings every month for people. And then there's an introduction call as well.
Yeah.
And so this is a wonderful way for people to ask their questions of you. And again, every time we do a podcast and we cross this subject, there's so many varieties of the question around this that you're truly helping a lot of people. And it covers the whole gamut of all of our needs. So we are excited for this. It's all recorded as well, but we invite those to really take this time to interact with Sophie and ask her your questions. Let her deep dive in your subconscious to help you unravel from that old paradigm and rewire neurological pathways for this new way of being. It really is magical when we all step up in this way. And right now I'm feeling, again, I'm seeing that world. Again, I want to say that people who are watching or listening to this are already masters, already new earth masters. So this could be that next piece that fortifies them in a new way, that gets them out of any stuckness or stickiness that they feel. Yeah. Or, you know, when we call ourselves human, this is pretty common too. We can say, yeah, I still get upset. I'm human. Well, we are evolving humanity and evolving our humanness by stepping up and installing this new emotional paradigm, which is a balance, and it will liberate us from the duality, as you said. So it is wonderful. Thank you so much for this. As we say goodbye, I just want to give you another moment to share any final thoughts.
Yeah, well, I think you could feel my passion about the topic. I get really, really passionate about this because it is really my life's work so far. And it's really been my assignment. This has been given to me as an assignment, and it's been my journey to build it up for myself and then be able to offer it to others. So that's where my passion comes from. So I just want, in conclusion, to, yes, invite everyone to become emotional pioneers, way showers, and models for others, to inspire everyone else out of the old paradigm and into the sacredness of the emotional body. And I'd love to be your guide and support you in this up-leveling so that together we bless the world with our high vibrational emotional body and our emotional mastery. Thank you so much for offering me this opportunity to extend this invitation to all of you. Thank you so much for welcoming me today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sophie Bidard. What a wonderful guide you are on this journey. High vibrational, and we thank you for your light, and we thank everyone for your love and your light. And Gaia, Mother Earth, thanks you as well. Namaste.
Namaste.